Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasharanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasharanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Jai Vishnu Padma Hamsa Vargachachari Asatara Satashi Shimad Mr. Bangres Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnu Padma Hamsa Vargachachari Asatara Satashi Shimad Mr. Bangres Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Amachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Nandakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Shri Prantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksharam Miniram Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Samrupakaramayam Darati Saparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamaram Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vidamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Harijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Ladita Shri Vishakam Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindha Dinabandha Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapraganshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Shashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vishaline Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashidare Shadhanine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimate Vashishagada Sarikaji Namane Nama Pashishilaya Paparani Shanine Anindada Didasma Shastra Bhaja Shaline Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 20, verse 36. Naikatrite Jayati Shadini Pada Padmam Naikatrite Jayati Shadini Pada Padmam Naikatrite Jayati Shadini Pada Padmam Vinantya Muhu Karatalena Patat Patangam Vinantya Muhu Karatalena Patat Patangam Madhyam Vishidati Brihatstana Bharabitam Madhyam Vishidati Brihatstana Bharabitam Shante Vadrishte Ramala Shushika Samuha Shante Vadrishte Ramala Shushika Samuha Naikachrate Jatishari Nipara Padmam Ganantya Muhu Karatarena Patat Patangam Madhyam Vishidati Brihatstana Parabitam Shante Vadrishte Ramala Sushika Samuha. Synonyms: na, not. Ekatra, in one place. Te, your. Jayati, stay. Shalini, O beautiful woman. Pada Padmam, lotus feet. Kanantyaha, striking. Muhuhu, again and again. Karatalena, by the palm of the hand. Patat, bouncing. Patangam, the ball. Madhyam, waist. Vishidati, gets fatigued. Brihat, full grown. Stana, of your breasts. Bhara, by the weight. Vihitam, oppressed. Shanta iva, as if fatigued. Drishtihi, vision. Amala, clear. Su, beautiful. Shikha, your hair. Samuhaha, bunch. Translation: O beautiful woman, when you strike the bouncing ball against the ground with your hand again and again, your lotus feet do not stay in one place. Oppressed by the weight of your full-grown breasts, your waist becomes fatigued, and your clear vision grows dull, as it were. Pray braid your comely hair. Purport: the demons observed beautiful gestures in the woman's every step. Here they praised her full-grown breasts, her scattered hair, and her movements in stepping forward and backward while playing with the ball. In every step they enjoy her womanly beauty, and while they enjoy her beauty, their minds become agitated by sex desire. As moths at night surround a fire and are killed, so the demons become victims of the movements of the ball-like breasts of a beautiful woman. The scattered hair of a beautiful woman also afflicts the heart of a lusty demon. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutare Shrimate Vaisheshikara Sarakari Namane Amapaishashire Pavarani Sharine Panindita Tidismai Shashabhajana Shodine. So in this verse, 3:20:36, Prabhupada is making a specific point in the purport that attraction to or absorption in the beauty, in material beauty, is degrading. Enjoying the beauty of the opposite sex agitates the mind with sex desire. And he compares this agitation or this absorption by these demons as like moths surrounding a flame. So I have no qualification to speak about controlling lusts because I'm a very lusty individual, probably the most lustiest and unfortunate person in this whole temple. But whatever I can speak, I'll just repeat from those who have been able to control lust, such as His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So there are a few angles on this verse on primarily on sex desire. That one of them is that through this sex desire, through lust, this is something that affects all conditioned souls. That only Narayan Rishi in this material world, only Narayan Rishi are free from lust. That sex desire is a universal problem. In the Bhagavad Gita, verses 2.62 to 64 describes the whole sequence of material attachment and lust. At first, through contemplation, by contemplating a sense object, then one becomes attached. And through this attachment, one develops lust. And that this lust, it's like a flame, like a fire, like moths go into a fire. Because from this lust, one develops anger, delusion, and then bewilderment, and a resultant loss of intelligence. And the final stage of contemplating a sense object, what it eventually leads to is a fall down back into samsara, into the material whirlpool of karmic reactions, of sense gratification. And that one who is not Krishna conscious is always subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. That's despite how powerful or stout one may be in controlling their senses. We see many examples of this. We see many examples of this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many sages who are doing very intense tapasya, but then Indra, because he fears that they'll take over his position, sends an apsara, very, very beautiful heavenly damsel, to go and seduce this sage, to deviate him from his sadhana, so he can protect his position as Indra. So Indra can protect his own position. That we can see this, that there are many situations like this in the Srimad Bhagavatam, telling stories of these great sages who have fallen, despite their power and controlling their senses, that they still fall prey to sense gratification. But on the other hand, too, we see situations of devotees. Prabhupada regularly mentions Haridas Thakur, who was approached by Maya Devi in the form of a prostitute, attempting to seduce him 3 nights in a row. But Haridas Thakur, due to his absorption in the holy names of the Lord, he was able to overcome this obstacle. And that not only did he avoid succumbing to lust, but he also converted this prostitute into a pure devotee. that Smayadevi in the form of this prostitute became a very exalted Vaishnavi through the association of Haridas Thakur. Now, this higher taste, the higher taste that one gets from Krishna consciousness, this higher taste, that it puts one in a position where they can give up these lower sense pleasures. The soul is anando mahayabhyasat, constantly looking for happiness. The problem is that by looking for happiness in the material world through material beauty, material opulence, that the soul becomes attached to temporary objects. And this attachment will result in suffering. Yehi samsparsha jago bhogha dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta konteya teshu ramate buddha. That those who are intelligent understand that sense objects, sense gratification, attachment to material objects is a source of suffering. Dukkha yonaya. It's the womb of dukkha, of suffering. But that's through spiritual activities, through Krishna consciousness. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kamshati. Samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. That one, Brahma bhuta prasanatma, one feels very, very, very happy. Yayatma supersediti, from engaging in pure devotional service, which is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma, Yato Bhakti Radoksaje, Ahotuki Apratihata Yayatma supersediti. It's the supreme occupation for a reason, because it's eternal, it's the Nitya Dharma, it's the eternal occupation, the eternal role of the soul is to serve. That's what makes us the happiest. And the service has to be a hotuki and apratihata, without motivation and without impediment. And only in this way then one feels very happy, yayatma supersediti, very blissful. And that from this bliss, that one is able to detach themselves from material happiness. Otherwise, it's impossible. Prabhupada mentions that one who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail. For the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his senses. But by those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. So only through Krishna consciousness, only through engagement in pure devotional service, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, a very powerful practice, that one can overcome attraction to material objects. Because there is beauty in the material world. Even the Srimad Bhagavatam talks about the beauty of the material world. The material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. And because beauty exists in the spiritual world, it also exists here in its reflection in the material world. One can see this through the sunset, the ocean, attractive people, very many different nature. There are many different examples, many different manifestations of the Krishna's opulence of beauty within this material world. Even the Bhagavatam, even Shukadev Goswami talks about the beauty of the material world, such as in the 5th canto, chapter 2, that one of the sons of Maharaj Priyarata, he goes to the forest to engage in tapasya. But he has the desire for a very beautiful wife. But Brahma, understanding his desire, sends him an apsara, a very beautiful heavenly damsel. And there are many verses that are then very vividly describing the beauty of this apsara, that the beauty exists in this material world. Beauty is a feature of this world. In Shukadeva Goswami, he was speaking, reciting these verses to Maharaj Parikshit. He's about to die, but still he takes some time to describe the beauty of the material world because it exists. It's a true feature, but it's not meant for our enjoyment. that our position is to serve Krishna, to engage in devotional service, and by relishing the beauty of Krishna through our strict and sincere practice of bhakti yoga, tivrena bhakti yogena, then only through this way then we can receive a higher taste, and through this higher taste, this higher beauty of Krishna consciousness, that one can become detached from material beauty. Only when you give someone a better thing, a higher thing, do they become detached from a lower thing. It's just like in the same example, if someone is attached to eating meats, and then we give them very delicious Krishna prasadam, then they'll forget all about their meat eating because of how delicious and palatable Krishna prasadam is, especially Mahaprasadam, especially Rajbhog, especially halwa, especially these sweets, these deity sweets, very, very delectable. In this way, someone can become detached from their material proclivities. But until then, the program is regulation that akama sarvakama va mokshakama udharadi, that even if one has all material desires, sarvakama, then they should be udharadi, they should be very broad-minded, which means that they should accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worship him in that way, even for the fulfillment of their material desires, even if they desire material beauty. Because through their practice of Tirena Bhakti Yogena, one is that Krishna has the potency to fulfill all desires, and also through worship of Krishna, one becomes purified. Just like in the example of Dhruva Maharaj, he desired a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma, but he did it through honest means. He was udharadi, he was very broad-minded. He did it through, he accepted the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, Narada Muni. He engaged in very strict and sincere practice of bhakti yoga. And through his practice, he achieved his desire, but he also became a pure devotee. He had darshan of the Lord of Narayan. Dhruva Maharaj is a very great soul, and through his example, you can understand that despite our attachment to material opulence and beauty, that still through the acceptance of bhakti yoga, bhakti is like a self-correcting system. That even if our original desire isn't pure, that we become purified by the pure practice of bhakti, and that in due course of time we become pure devotees. And that's in verse 264 in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says that this consciousness of full surrender to Krishna, is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So despite one being attached to material beauty, say a man is very attached to the beauty of women, that despite this, if he is able to, that if he receives the causeless mercy of the Lord, which is knowledge, practice and knowledge, pure knowledge given by a sadhu, that this is the mercy of the Lord, the association of a sadhu, that through this association, through this mercy, the devotee can achieve the consciousness of full surrender despite being attached to material sense gratification. So I'm a very lusty person. I lack qualifications to speak on these things, and many things I have not personally realized, but what I've spoken is in accordance with Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, who have conquered lusts, and they've given us this very great plan of devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna, following the four regular principles, getting married for those who desire to, and engaging our senses in preaching Krishna consciousness, going out on book distribution, serving in the temple, writing articles, writing books, engaging in deity worship, doing kirtan, cooking, arranging festivals, making garlands. There's so many variegated activities available in Krishna consciousness. And the central point is to engage in the service so that we become purified, that our senses develop a taste. We experience this bliss from Krishna consciousness, and it becomes a habit, becomes an addiction. We become addicted to bhakti, to devotional service. And then, just like any addiction, then we forget about everything else. We fall completely in love with Krishna and with this process of service, of divine service. It is very beautiful. Krishna's form is very beautiful in that he captivates the minds of those who worship him. Parhapidam natavadavapuhu kanaya kanikaram vipradvasa kanakakapisham vajayantim shamanam andhanvenor surya purayangopavrinde Vrindaranyam Saparadamanam Pravisha Gita Kirti. With pleasant peacock plume upon his head, with fragrant flowers placed upon his ear, he enters Vraja's woods with graceful tread, a handsome dancing actor without peer. And that Krishna, he's a very beautiful form, a very captivating person. He's the greatest dancer. He's very stylish. He's very beautiful. He's the most talented. And he's very clever. And that relishing these pastimes, engaging in service, and developing the adhikar to relish and become absorbed in Krishna Lila is the only means, the only way by which one can become detached from material beauty. Because ultimately, material beauty is just a reflection of Krishna. It's just a reflection, it's just a feature of Krishna's opulence. And the reason we're attracted to material beauty is because inherently the soul is attracted to Krishna, Krishna himself being all attractive. So through this process of connecting with Krishna, the source of all beauty, the very source of our attraction, then it makes sense that we become detached from the secondary reflections of Krishna, the very main thing. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for listening to this class. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was very well spoken, backed up with many Shastra verses. And I've been meditating on this point, aligning our body, mind, and words. And you spoke about that, service is our shield. It's our protection from, our frailties, human frailties. And that's our only protection. And the second thing that I loved was, you spoke about how Prabhupada is there and there are many realized souls. And so their realizations, their guidance, again, is our only protection. So aligning, when we do any service to keep that service mindedness, that's one aspect of that alignment. And then the speech, and then through our action. So all three, when it's aligned, it acts as our shield. So anyway, that's been my meditation, and you spoke very beautifully. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Bhataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pretending. Okay, Jai Jai.
Jai.